Welcome to the Hog Sty. It's Sunday, June 19th, and we've got a great show. OTA's ended, and we'll give our final thoughts on that before we head into our big interview with Arie Kouandjio, and then we're going to talk some interior offensive linemen. So, Sean, you might ask, what do I do if I want to rep the Redskins, but I'm a student at Sidwell Friend School who just banned all Redskins apparel? Well, you might just have to buy yourself a cool new Hogsty t-shirt, available now in multiple styles and sizes. Links on our website, thehogsty.com, and in the description. I'm just saying, we'll be right back with you in the Hogsty.
Welcome to the Hogsty with your crew, Alex Zeese, Steve Thomas, and Robbie Duncan. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So glad to have you here. My name's Sean Conti. I'm super excited for this big episode. Very excited for this Arie Kouandjio interview. Aren't you, Steve Thomas?
Oh, man, I'm very excited about Arie Kouandjio. Obviously it's recorded and it went really well. I'm excited to have everybody here. I just have a dilemma, though, guys. I really don't know. I mean, we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. And tonight, of course, by the time people hear this, we're going to know, A, if the most narcissistic man on the planet has another NBA title, and we're also going to know whether or not the Starks own Winterfeld. Okay, because both the NBA Finals Game 7 and the LeBrons versus the good guys, or Game of Thrones. And so the question is what to watch, and when to watch it, because you have to watch both tonight. Otherwise, the whole secret for both will be will be failed.
That's an easy question, in my opinion. It's easily Game of Thrones. I'll watch. What is it? Game come on at 8 o'clock tonight?
But yeah, well, the game is on starts an hour before Game of Thrones.
All right, I'll watch the game before Game of Thrones, and then I'll watch the game after Game of Thrones. How about that?
Yeah, see, for me, it's if the LeBrons are up by a lot,
right?
I probably will be too sad. I hate LeBron James as much as I can hate a sports figure. To me, it's the Dallas Cowboys are number one on my sports hate list, and then the Boston Celtics are number two, and then any team that LeBron is associated with is 2A. That's my hate.
There are many people who would agree with you on that. A lot of people don't want to see him win this year.
I just can't stand the guy. And
I
so
don't
for
want
me,
to see him win either.
Here's the good news. Basketball is only good in the last few minutes anyway. So at 9 o'clock or at 10 o'clock when the Game of Thrones is over, you can tune in and you'll see like the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. It's perfect.
It's good in the playoffs. It's not good during the regular season.
Depends on how big a basketball fan you are, though. Yeah. I think I'm a bigger basketball fan than you guys are.
I love playing basketball. I think that's probably true. Watching it's a lot more boring, especially the NBA.
See, I'm a big Laker fan, and they haven't been in the playoffs for the past couple of years, so the playoffs have lost interest to me. But I think if the Game of Thrones times comes up and the game is really close and good, I'll probably stick with the game. But if the LeBrons are up by a lot, I think I'll probably switch over because I just don't want to see him. All
right. Well, before we move on, Sean and guys, let's just go ahead and say who we think is going to win tonight, and then end it there.
Warriors. It's at home. Steph Curry's had 2 bad games in a row, so I think he comes back and does well. Warriors win.
Warriors, they're a better team. Simple as that.
Jon Snow. Jon Snow wins.
Yeah.
John,
which is the battle of the bastards.
Yeah. Should we do those predictions too? What happens in the Game of Thrones episode?
Why not? Well,
listen to this, people will know the answer.
It'll be over.
That's the thing.
That's right.
They'll know how dumb they sound.
They can hear this and say, "Oh yeah, what a bunch of idiots! They predict the wrong thing."
That's true.
Well, you can say your basketball pick, Robbie.
Basketball pick, I want to say the Warriors, but the Cavs been rolling, man. I like the Warriors much better than I'd like the LeBrons. So I'm going to say the Cavs are going to win this, though.
Ugh. God. You're going to make me sick to my stomach.
I know.
Yeah, and obviously Jon Snow's going to take the other battle of the evening.
Is it even possible?
Let's just go in for it.
No.
That's already happened once, Steve.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen again.
No, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
He's in it to win it. And this is going to be the moment that we've all been waiting for. Sorry to go on this tangent, everybody. Hopefully there's plenty of crossover fans for Redskins and Game of Thrones, but we're all big fans on this show. And yeah, I mean, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Ramsey's been sitting comfortable way too long. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Forget basketball. Basketball does not exist on a night like this.
Right.
I don't know, man. Game 7, hard to pass up.
Yeah. Well, we'll all see how it turns out tomorrow, and you guys who are listening already know. But with that, let's go into our first story of the day. So anyways, we referenced this in the intro. It's kind of a funny thing, I think. So Sidwell Friends School, okay, this is the school obviously attended by Barack Obama's daughters, banned all Redskins apparel recently. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of bullshit, ladies and gentlemen, but obviously I think that. What do you guys think?
Well, there's so many other offensive, first of all, it's a private school, right. So there's no governmental First Amendment issue, and second of all,
I imagine there's a hardcore dress code of some sort.
Oh, I'm sure it probably has uniforms, probably, right? I guess not.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's even a rule, they have to do that. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
But there's no First Amendment issue going on because it's private school, but even if it was a public school, the courts have consistently ruled that schools have a little bit more authority to restrict the constitutional rights of students, in high school and below. And so there probably wouldn't be an issue. But like you, I think it's nonsense because, there's so many other things that people could consider offensive, and yet you have to come out with the rule banning Redskins stuff. It just smacks of politics to me. And, and you have a Democrat, in office who's probably, again, he's never come out and he has come out and said it actually. Barack Obama did a while
ago. What about the Redskins?
Say something, in passing. I'm going to I'll try and find it. He did make
he said, I would consider changing the name. That's what he said. If I were the owner, I would consider.
There you go. That's what he said.
He was sort of diplomatic, but there's obviously an insinuation.
Yeah, and so I wonder if they're kind of bending to the politics of the most powerful students in the school.
Well,
if you're the school, wouldn't you do the same thing? I mean, it's kind of hard to deny the president who's got family members enrolled. Sorry, Alex.
I was going to say from what I read, it looked like it was decided by the school the student body itself that made this.
Why does the student body have any say in what the dress code is?
I don't know. Why do we elect student presidents to begin with? It's a stupid little thing. I don't know.
Dumb.
I don't know about you guys. I ran for treasurer and I got 4 votes in elementary school. So I don't understand
it. Why is there a treasurer in an elementary school student council anyway?
I don't know.
What are you
counting? That's a good question. Pennies. You're counting
Never
pennies.
let that go, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. He talks about that all the time. He's got a huge chip on his shoulder for losing this campaign.
Hey, I had a great propaganda poster. Thank you very much.
Which was what? You don't keep us in the dark.
It was my face on a $100 bill.
Oh, classic.
Had you ever touched a $100 bill in your life at that point?
Yeah.
Face on the $100 bill is like the Webster's dictionary defines of campaign.
Did you say a $100 bill or a dollar bill?
A $100 bill. What am I going to put my face on a dollar bill for? What jerk does that?
George Washington. How about George Washington did it?
Well,
how about that jerk?
He didn't get to pick.
He's the only one allowed, yeah. All right, well, we probably can't keep people in suspense for too much longer. Maybe we should just give them what we want. We had a huge opportunity to interview Arie Kouandjio. I myself was unfortunately absent. These guys knocked it out of the park. But it's an awesome interview. Thanks you to the Redskins for allowing this to happen. So proud, so happy. We're going to give it to you now.
Hi, everyone. This is Alex, Steve, and Robbie here. Our guest today is a local kid who's gone from playing at DeMatha to now playing for his hometown team. He won 2 BCS championships at Alabama, and in 2014 he was an All-American and a first-team All-SEC player. Please welcome Redskins guard Arie Kouandjio.
Hey, nice to be on the show. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for being on, Arie. I'll start you off with an easy one. You guys just finished the mini camps. How has your off-season gone so far? How do you feel?
Off-season's gone pretty well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, off-season's gone pretty well. We've accomplished a lot of things. I've accomplished a lot of things. We all got better, and I feel that way about myself as well. It was just great being around my team after a long break. Great to, work and get better with these guys.
Big thing they're harking on about you this offseason has been how you've bulked up. Big noticeable change from last year to this year. That's what I've been seeing, yeah. What's the difference? Have you leaned out some, put on more muscle? Where's your weight right now?
My weight is around 320.
All right.
Which is, around where it was last year. But I have had like an extra year of, NFL style training. I was down in Tampa with my trainer Ryan Bergman, and coming back up here and training with the training staff up here. I mean, and having a few more months under my belt of a combination of that, with the nutrition staff here, and it's really helped me out. I feel very fit. I feel stronger. I feel faster.
That's awesome.
And I've been doing a lot of things on my own that I can't tell you about.
Yeah.
Trade secrets.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, to kind of hark on to that too is, adjusting from that college year to your first year in the NFL. Every player says, the biggest adjustment was speed. Obviously it is speed, but what can you say was the biggest adjustment for yourself besides speed?
Besides speed, kind of just, I don't know, it's kind of the same thing. It's, I guess, speed with my hands. I've had to use my hands a little bit faster than I had to in college. So yeah, just like kind of the hand fighting and the hand games that are in the NFL and that I have to, kind of really hone in and focus on. That was definitely probably one of the biggest adjustments I've had to make.
I'm sure. Yeah, the offensive line versus D-line, it's all about hands and speed. It's crazy. People don't even realize how much goes into each rep in as an offensive lineman. Yeah. I played at ODU, by the way, Old Dominion University. But
oh, really?
Yes, sir. But I'm curious. Kind of a O-line to O-lineman type thing. What would you say is Coach Callahan's favorite drill? The coach's favorite drill, but the players all hate it. You know what I mean? Like when I was in college, our coach's favorite drill was this basically a one-on-one linebacker to offensive lineman drill. You just ran and tried to block the linebacker, and they just go all out on you. What's the one that you hate that Coach Callahan loves for you guys to do?
The one I hate is probably like the outside zone drill. It's probably the most running we have in pre-workouts, and that's around the time where you're trying to get warmed up and stuff. It's one of the earliest drills we have, and it's it requires a lot of a lot of bursts and stuff like that. But probably coach's favorite drill is when we work on the big bag. It's called Big Bertha. We just work our hands on that. Our punching combinations and stuff like that. And to be honest, I don't think we hate it. The guys hate it. I personally have seen a lot of benefits from it, and I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure, I guess.
Yeah. It helps. It helps a lot. I mean, it all helps, but you can really, literally, work on the Big Bertha a little bit, and then go into the drills, and you can kind of see it right away.
You guys do the striking the medicine balls, like one of your O-lineman buddies holds the medicine ball and squeezes it real tight, and you got to punch and drive the guy with that?
Oh, we haven't been doing that too much.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and mention, Alabama's running scheme was very, downhill, power-based. I'm not sure if you guys ran a lot of zone. You can please correct me if you did. But it seems like to me the big difference between Bama's running scheme to, the Callahan's scheme for the Skins now is it's a little more diverse than just your straight power running game, downhill type thing. What can you say was your biggest adjustment from Bama's downhill scheme to our Redskins scheme now?
Well, actually, we did run some zone.
I figured.
At Bama, we ran a lot of zone. We're just known to be, powerful and big and be able to do all that stuff. So obviously, we had that going on.
Right.
But to be honest, it's been pretty similar as far as like the types of plays that we run. Bama, kind of really prepared me for at least, if nothing else, it really prepared me for the mental part of the game.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were on the biggest stage every week, pretty much.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
And you had pretty much the same running back, too. I mean, Matt Jones and Derrick Henry aren't too different. I mean, Derrick Henry is a little bit bigger, but pretty much the same style.
Yeah, exactly. So those guys were pretty similar. They're both great backs, and I'm very blessed to have had both of those guys running behind me.
one thing a lot of people don't even talk about, I mean, they always talk about the running schemes, zone versus power, blah, blah, blah. But there's really a lot of different pass blocking schemes that people don't even realize, isn't there?
Yeah, totally. Totally. There's, there's quick game, there's long game, there's play action. There's a lot. You're totally right about that.
For me at college, we played a lot of the half man, half slide type stuff. You'd have
exactly.
The center would call the initial protection. Quarterback can change that obviously, but you'd set the protection to like the most dangerous guy or to the field. I'm a big fan of that half man, half slide myself.
Yeah, we have half man, half slide. That's pretty cool. We also have like man protections. We also have like empty protections. There's a lot going on, like you said.
Full slide, play action stuff.
Full slide, yeah. There's a lot going on.
Hey Arie, it's Steve. The pass pro improved quite a bit this past year, just from a statistical perspective. And I realize we had a different quarterback, different style back there. But what was the major change, do you think, that allowed the pass protection to get better and give up some fewer sacks?
Well, I wasn't here the year before, but I mean, just seeing how much Coach Callahan knows and just being around him, I can totally imagine a lot.
Yeah, obviously, left guard is a competition position right now. Sean Laval was the number one last year until he got hurt. Spencer Long came in. Obviously, you were a one-year guy, maybe not quite ready back then, but you got a year under your belt. You're stronger. You feel more experienced. They've been only really talking about those two, but what about Arie Kouandjio? Is he gonna be pushing?
Yeah, I plan on pushing. It's all what God wants, and I'm just trusting God and His plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Arie, what about? We also know versatility is a big thing with Gruden and Callahan. Fans read about it all the time. Have they been working you out at center, at tackle, at all along the line a little bit here and there?
I have spent some time at center. I've done like some pre-practice at center, and I played some tackle here in the past. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm versatile. I can't play anything, and I'm just ready. I'm excited to be here, and I'm ready to play.
I got a good question for you. A lot of people, they get reports of plays and stuff that goes on during these OTA practices when you're not practicing in pads and all that. Tell me, do you hate these non-padded practices as much as I do? Because offensive linemen are at the severe disadvantage in this because the defensive linemen just go all out in these practices. At least when I was playing in college, they would make us, they'd give us a lot of fits for that by going full speed. It's like, come on, man.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it can be a problem, especially when you obviously trying to defend a bull rush from a nose tackle or a street technique, and you have no pads out there. You have nothing to stop.
Exactly.
But like I said, I've been working a lot on my hands, and so it's good for that too. It helps train your feet and helps you get them going to where you can kind of just like stay in front of people and mirror them.
So would you say hands and footwork has been your biggest focus this offseason?
Yes, sir. Probably. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
What are your goals that you set for yourself for the upcoming season?
My goals are, I don't know, just some of my personal goals are starting and helping out the team, and probably my main goal is just being able to help out the team more than I did last year on a consistent basis.
All right, you've been really generous with your time, and we want to thank you for that. So we only really have one or two questions left. The first one, this is kind of our softball. Has there been any plans for an intervention for Kirk Cousins' music taste yet? The Creed, all the Creed stuff that's been out there is, us fans, we love it. We love the fodder, but I mean, how has the rest of the team embraced it, or is there any work to try and get him to maybe update to something from the 2000s?
Yeah, I'm sure he likes a lot of different type of music. So I'm finding food myself, so I don't know. He's finding my best.
Yeah, he's the quarterback. You might just have to put up with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, well, you've got 6 weeks coming up. Do you have any big vacation plans for you and your brother, your family, before training camp starts?
I'm just going down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I am going to San Francisco for my brother's wedding, actually.
Nice.
Here on the 25th.
Well, congratulations to your family for that.
Thank you very much. Taking some personal time, with my girlfriend, and mixing, being able to relax my body some and train as hard as I possibly can.
Great. Get ready for the season. Arie, we do want to thank you very much for your time again. And we'll be rooting for you. I root for any guy who's, played locally and then tries to, get on the team. Best of luck to you in the coming season.
We'll see you in training camp.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You have
Thanks very much.
You too.
Good job, guys. I really
Awesome.
I know we had some
You're the
issues
man.
with
So
his mic cutting out or his phone, and I think
it
it hung up on us at one point. We kind of edited it so it doesn't sound that way. For those
we have
of us
limited
in the land.
infrastructure here, ladies.
Well,
and gentlemen.
first of all, I'd just like to say thanks to Arie Kouandjio for taking
man.
his off time to do that. Because it was evening. He was out of the building already.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to the Redskins PR for setting that up. We appreciate it.
He was on vacation.
Did not have to do that.
and he
Yeah,
did.
he was.
He was about to start it.
Yeah. But
Testament to the kind of guy he obviously is.
But as to Arie, he was very well spoken. Clearly a very intelligent guy. Cares a lot about his craft. I got that impression. We didn't have a lot. Obviously, we only had 12 minutes with him.
Yeah.
Not very long.
Yeah, but I think it showed that how much he does care about his career. I doubt he's one of these guys that goes out and wastes his time in clubs and rolls in, rolls into practice in states he shouldn't. That kind of thing. He struck me as a pretty serious guy.
I mean, that reflects in his off-season training. Like we asked him, he bulked up, and we asked what he did differently. Where's his weight at? He's been taking this off-season very seriously, and I think he's ready to push to be a starter and get some actual playing time.
He seemed surprised when you brought the weight up. It seemed like he was surprised that you knew about that.
Yeah, he didn't even. It shows how much players actually look and read into the stories that come out about them and about the team, which is hardly at all. Really,
he probably doesn't do too many interviews. I wouldn't think.
Well, he did a couple last
they're probably
year.
not.
Well, there was one recently. The Insider had a Arie Kouandjio post like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
He's a great
Just
guy.
making the rounds
Obviously, I think Robbie. We need to get Robbie another O-line friend just so he can sit and talk O-line all day long.
I just got to talk shop with him. I didn't really get into him too much. I don't know. It was just cool to talk about stuff that he does.
Well, I wish we'd had another minute or so because I really wanted to ask him about his brother and the effect of having an NFL brother, on him, but we just ran out of time.
Well, we had like another 20, 30 questions we really wanted to get to, but
we
that's
didn't
how it
get
goes.
to any of them.
But
anyway, that was great.
In a good interview, I feel like you're always left with questions on your sheet you don't get to ask. So
It's better than having dead air.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I think we've probably had that somewhere along the line, too. We just edited it out and didn't let you guys hear it.
You should be thanking us for that.
Yeah.
But anyways, awesome stuff. And thank you one more time, Arie. You're the man. So, moving right along on our agenda here, Alex, I hear you got another of your intrepid stories here to hit us with. What's going on, man?
Well, of course, it's one of the things that was brought to my attention. Now, I'm going to say this was brought to my attention by a friend of ours, someone who's been listening to us since the beginning. He was an old hamster, one of the originals, Chris Larry. He sent me this in an email.
Name drop.
Yeah. Well, by the way, he's one of the few people who ever uses his own name as his handle when he blogs.
Yeah, true.
That's old school. You never see that anymore.
No.
That's awesome. That's
no,
gangster.
he's an original like that. Anyway, so this was a story that Jason Lockenfor came out with 2 weeks ago, I believe now. It was about how the NFL is seriously looking into bringing back something along the lines of what NFL Europe was. That is a developmental league.
Ooh.
Probably in the United States. There were a lot of, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that in the story, but the high ups in the NFL, and I mean owners, people in the NFL headquarters, are really looking into bringing this league back, and
define to us the structure of this league. I mean, like the function of it for people who may not be in the know.
So the big issue that the league is seeing is that the quality of players coming out in college, because of the spread, because of different offenses that colleges run, guys don't know the fundamentals that you need to know to play in the NFL, especially your back end of the draft guys.
Is there anybody in a recent Redskins history that might fit?
How about Ty Nseki, friend of the show, Ty Nseki?
Yeah.
Remember we interviewed him and he talked all about his background and how he bounced around between. Wasn't he in the Arena Developmental League at one point in time?
League 2 to start, which is the minor league for Arena League, which is a minor league for the NFL. So that's like single A ball, if you want to kind of put a baseball term on it.
He bounced around to everywhere and ended up in the NFL.
Right.
But there's those kind of guys are few and far between, really.
Yeah, and because there's no actual structure to groom them and bring them in.
But the problem is, to me, is twofold. Is number one, you will never have an extensive minor league structure like baseball.
Oh, no. I don't think
and the reason is
that.
No, well, I hope not, because the minor leagues do it because college baseball, while it's been on the rise recently with the popularity of the Omaha Final Four and all that, it's not a huge money generator, And whereas obviously the NCAA football is making billions of dollars a year, and so the NCAA will not want to end the cash cow by letting the Robert Griffins and Jameis Winstons of the world go to some minor league.
Right.
They don't want.
That's who I was referencing, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, we could also bring into the fact that people get drafted into baseball right out of high school. I mean, as young as 16.
Right.
Well, and the reason that's allowed is because of college baseball is not a huge money generator.
Right.
And well, the other thing is you can. Believe me, I know it's not as easy to hurt yourself in baseball as it is in football.
Oh, sure.
You can ruin believe me, I know all about pitchers ruining their arms in my house. But, other than that, the odds of getting some career-threatening injury are much less in baseball and football.
Yeah. Pitchers are probably the better example, though, of just how in baseball, guys wear down and can get badly injured. With other positions.
Well, you get
not
the
so
elbows
much,
and everything. Yeah.
This would.
Well, but so can you explain? Because I still don't get what's this new developmental league that they're coming out with. How is that improve over the Arena League?
They're trying to. The NFL's basically just starting to sit down and talk about bringing something back.
Think about the.
Yeah.
Right.
Troy Vincent,
it's going to improve.
Yeah.
The play in general.
Yeah.
Like the quality of play is going to be that much better because you got guys that are actually being given time to learn and develop and to adjust to this NFL speed where especially offensive linemen it's a epidemic of really poor offensive line play overall. Like there's really good pass rushers and there's still really good offensive linemen here and there, but the quality the selection of quality offensive linemen is very very few. It's hard to find a good one that has all the stuff that you're looking for. And that's what this developmental league would be really good for is actually, teaching offensive linemen the proper technique to play in the NFL. Because a lot of these guys just come from college and got away with just being bigger and stronger and, better than these guys they matched up against, where guys in the NFL are just as big, just as strong, and even faster.
Well, I think the model that would work maybe is not really the baseball model, but it's the NBA model. The NBA has the NBA Developmental League. For those of you who aren't basketball fans out there, like my beloved Lakers has the LA Defenders, as a team, and it used to be that those developmental league teams were not owned by and associated with NBA teams. And now almost all of them are.
Right. It used to be 5-1 or something. Now it's getting to 1-1 again.
Yeah, right. So almost every team has their own developmental league. And so what I think the sort of the future of what Alex is talking about, how it could maybe work is you have the NBA draft, the NFL draft stays the same, and then there's either a developmental league draft or the NFL franchises sign players and put them instead of cutting them and getting rid of them. Like we've gotten rid of, the Redskins are at the point now where we're getting to where we have to cut good players.
Right.
So instead of cutting them, instead of cutting them, you send them to the Virginia Beach, rancheros or whatever the name is.
Right.
That's the model.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I mean the problem, of course, obviously, is that in football careers are shorter. There's more chance for injury. So you're going to have a lot fewer guys who can come through that unscathed. Than you will in basketball and baseball.
There's a give and take. And by the way, one of the things in the article that they talked about is right now the person in charge of it is Troy Vincent, who you guys probably remember pretty well.
Former Eagle, who's now working in the NFL front office and is
Mr.
Mr.
Vice
Discipline.
President of Football Operations.
He's Mr. Discipline.
Yeah, so he's the one kind of spearheading this. He has to meet with the NFLPA because they got to work out a lot of stuff, obviously. Steve, you can imagine the legal side of it's going to be a mess.
Well, you have to have a whole another collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think you have to take the mentality that if you are one of these players who you're an undrafted free agent and you get allocated to this, at least you're still playing football because odds are you'd be bagging groceries otherwise.
Well, the NFL Europe had the same function, but the problem was it was in Europe, man.
Right.
The Europeans just...
The problem with NFL Europe was Europe.
What a drag.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have a team... I mean, I get if you want to have a team in Berlin and call it NFL Europe, the population is much bigger there.
Right.
And so the idea is you can have a bigger fan base. But truth of the matter is it would be better served being in Des Moines, Iowa.
Right.
Than in Berlin, because there's, there are football fans who would go to see their local team just because it's the local team.
Right.
That's not nearly really true in Europe.
If you're not thinking, well, St. Louis just emptied out a very nice stadium that we could put a team in, and then Memphis right down the road has I think a public stadium.
I mean, there's a million cities you could put a minor league NFL team in.
And these are places that don't have NFL football now, and it would be, I think they would like it.
It's all about money in the end of the day, though. I mean, the NFL will not do it if they don't think they can make money at it. And so it has to be a revenue generator. Otherwise, it's just dead in the water. It's just
I mean, you have to show them either money or at least it's got to break even to the point where, well, if we get
no. You're dealing with NFL owned. No. It has to be a revenue generator. That the NFL owners are not going to come up with a new system and a new business where the model is to break even. That is not how business works.
Well, but
it has to generate
baseball
revenue.
Is a loser financially for baseball.
Well, I don't know if that's true. Number one, you're guessing. And number two, this is the NFL we're talking about here.
Yeah.
These owners, they're not going to do something that is not a money generator. They just aren't, in my opinion.
It sounds like one of those things that's good for the players, but I mean, can you really imagine people following this league? I mean, Alex, you're into the arena league and stuff like that? What'd you say?
Yeah, it's good for the game, like Alex said.
Well, I can tell you there's a team, there's a minor league
like,
baseball team in San Antonio, Texas, that's affiliated with maybe the Orioles, maybe, I can't remember, somebody. But, they do good business, because it's the only baseball around. Within 200 miles, that is baseball. And so they get a great crowd on Friday night. People go to see that team play and they enjoy it. And that's what would happen with minor league football.
Yeah.
Put a minor league team in Wichita, Kansas.
If you've never been to a minor league baseball game, it's a lot of fun.
Tides, Norfolk Tides, baby.
Yeah.
So put a minor league football team in Wichita, Kansas, and the people of Wichita would go see it.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you put one down in Robbie's neighborhood at the Virginia Sportsplex.
I'm trademarking Virginia Beach Rancheros, by the way, so don't even think about it, anybody out there.
Do you know they had a team in 1960s in Virginia Beach called it was Norfolk, the Norfolk Neptunes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Neptunes?
Yep.
Are you talking about what team?
It was
what sport?
It was a minor league, alternate league in the early 60s.
Football?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Who knew?
I did.
Alex did. You're the only one.
Ask a stupid question, Steve.
All right, well, I just wanted to bring that to the attention of everyone because you all know how I think that the NFL desperately needs a developmental league, and it's good to at least see every once in a while that they're thinking about it.
Well, see, the problem is if they'd had a developmental league, we might not have Robbie Duncan on this show. Robbie Duncan might have been in a developmental league. So
that's right.
That's true.
That would have been cool.
Do you think? Well, let me ask you, Robbie. Do you think you would have done it?
I don't know. I was really worried about my back when I graduated because during the season, during one of our weightlifting sessions during the week, I was doing some squats, felt my back pop while I was coming back up.
That's a scary
Scared me.
feeling, I bet.
Because
back pop.
Yeah, because I before that had already had my herniated disc problem from high school that hasn't really gone away, and I just fought through it.
Because you're a perfect example, really. You were a guy who, being from the school you were at and everything, you didn't get drafted, but you were a good starter. You could try to live the dream, but you would have known the odds would have been against you to really make it in the NFL.
To make it, yes.
Yeah, and so would you have want to put your life on hold basically for a couple of years to chase the dragon at $25,000 a year?
I mean, it would have been one of those things where if I didn't do it, I'd regret it. If I had the opportunity and I didn't take it, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy being down from my old playing weight. I'm about 250 now and still trying to lose. So
I still think Rob,
being down that much
you could be a
is a lot
good
better.
blocking tight end.
I can catch.
Can you run a 4.7 40 though?
No, my fastest was a 5 flat, and that's still really fast.
Yeah, but that was at your playing weight, right?
Yeah, but again, that's like elite speed for offensive linemen.
I know, but you subtract 50 pounds, and maybe you can get yourself down to 4.7.
That's a great point.
That's maybe, but
he's got the quickness.
Redskins, if you're listening, we have a potential tight end for you.
Just saying.
couple years removed.
Yeah.
He's never actually played tight end before, but we think he could do it, and we know what we're talking about.
Fun fact, my freshman year in high school, that's what I originally tried out as before they moved me to offensive line.
Oh, yeah?
I was just too big.
Too big.
They needed size on the offensive line, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And so you became a big ugly.
Yep.
A little hog.
Yep.
Well, nice. I mean, we'll have to see how that develops. I mean, it seems like a really cool idea, and it's a good opportunity for guys. But yeah, I mean, I think Steve brings up a good point about reality. I mean, money makes the world go round. So we'll see. But cool. In other news, OTAs finished up.
Yeah.
Chat about that, perhaps. Let's talk about our final thoughts there about OTAs. I think all signs are good. It seems like, I don't know, I guess I can start us off here. It seems like the big observations, Kirk Cousins looking pretty good. Mm-hmm. Running back situation for offense, jumbled up, not really sure what's going to come out of there. Those were just kind of two of my big observations, but that's nothing is surprising there, particularly about the running back situation. I think it's a little concerning, but there's time, plenty of time.
Will Compton's leadership's really shown during OTAs. Apparently, like he's a huge vocal leader. He's made a good number of plays too during OTAs. I think the last mandatory camp he picked off Kirk too. So he's seems to be solidifying himself some.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully that's harder to do this year.
Yeah.
Pick off Kirk Cousins, that is.
Yeah.
Well, I think the big thing that was missing was Junior Gillette was not able to participate, and he was not cleared, because I think it's going to take some time to work out basically a 3-man rotation at what amounts to a pass rushing D end. I mean, call them outside linebackers or whatever if you want, but what they really are pass rushing defensive ends, and there's 3 of them.
Is what they are.
Huh?
End backers. I think we need a new term for them at this point.
Alex just quote. Yeah, you can trademark that.
Yeah.
End backers. Anyway, so I think that's the big thing that was missing is Junior Gillette. They weren't able to work on it, not through his fault, but just it is what it is with the injury.
He was chomping at the bit.
So frustrating.
To get back on the field. I mean, like every reporter said that he was like really wanting to go out there.
Keep him off. Keep him off. He has time.
Got to be
Don't
smart.
let him do it.
He'll be there for the first practice in training camp.
Yeah. Well, and I think we saw some good competition develop. We're going to get to offensive line here in a minute, so we can probably save that. But we saw.
I think that was another major point of OTAs. Those offensive line. The depth of the offensive line. Yeah. This is another question.
In tight end, we saw the return of Niles Paul.
Right.
We talked about that in our tight end breakdown, but Niles was pretty locked in, I think, as the number 2 tight end, it appeared to me, from the reports.
I so hope this is his year.
The two things that stood out.
That was my bold prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so hope.
The two things that stood out to me in terms of what I saw reports-wise, one, our secondary, just balled out all OTAs. Every day you were hearing, another great pick by XYZ corner. So we're looking at some very good competition there. And the last thing was Crowder. I heard he really just had a bunch of great connections with Kirk Cousins throughout the entire camp. I think
talking about Jamison Crowder, the wide receiver. Not
yeah. Yes, sorry, Jamison Crowder.
Got so much depth.
Yeah.
At wide receiver this year.
It's funny you bring up the wide receiver because if you notice, Deshaun Jackson hasn't done any interviews at all.
Yeah.
And there was the report that came out that he was, mad at the criticism. Jaded. Yeah, a little jaded and mad at the criticism because he got criticized for the second year in a row for not attending, the bulk of the voluntary workouts. You know what, Deshaun? I mean, you wouldn't get the criticism if you showed up.
Right.
Amen.
And then he missed a couple days in OTAs too, I think, didn't he?
I don't know if he missed the mandatory OTAs. No.
Okay.
I wasn't aware of that.
I saw that he sat out a day. He was hurt or something, but
I don't know. I mean, he's got a family in the West Coast. I get it, but number one, you're not the only one from California,
right?
Even on this team. But no, I mean, he's not even the only one on the team from California, and he's not the only one that has family, more than 3 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sorry. You're a highly paid professional football player. I mean, show up, be a part of the team, and there won't be criticism. So color me unsympathetic.
Yeah, I agree. You got to do your job, and being at these OTAs, even if they are voluntary, it's still part of your job. You got to be there with the team. Yes, the argument is he's not there because he's going to show up either way. It's just not a good team mentality. It's not a big deal, like we've said, but it's just one of those things you got to do because it's the professional thing to do.
And don't be a baby about it. Yeah, don't be a baby about it when you get criticized for it. You're making
especially
a choice
since you've been criticized every year. So I mean, this is not a surprise. You have to. I mean, if it happened last year, don't be surprised and act pissed off that it happened again this year. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I also want to say the criticism wasn't even that bad. I mean, I feel like
it wasn't any different than any other year.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it was just some mumbles and grumbles, but a lot of people, including the coach, got his back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of he didn't show up again.
Well, I told you guys before. I mean, Jay Gruden would have gotten fined if he had criticized him too much.
Sure.
It's against the CBA. So I mean, Jay, I think it was Robbie that pointed out that the undertones of what Jay Gruden said was
he wants him there.
Yeah, I wish this guy was here. That was what he was trying to say.
Great to have everybody here, but
exactly. That's like typical politician speak. It's like obviously he does. It's no big deal. He just better ball out. Mm-hmm. He just better ball out. That's all I got to say.
He'll all be forgiven if he stays healthy and still is one of the leading deep threats in the NFL. Always forgiven. Yeah.
Puts up 1,000 yards. No hamstrings in week 1.
Right.
All right.
And
First
no
pass thrown
fumbles to lose a football game.
that would be also equally as important.
Please hang on to the ball. I mean, the same goes with our running backs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Hang on to the ball.
So yeah, amen to that. Deshaun Jackson, get your shit together. Hopefully that works out. Anybody else stick out to you guys, OTAs wise?
I mean, Matt Jones with the fumbles, with the electronic football. Let's hope that works.
Mm-hmm.
Same story as always.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Boyd Carrington, that undrafted free agent.
Oh, he had an awesome pick. Did you see the video of the pick?
Great call.
But it was versus the third string quarterback.
One-handed.
Wasn't it?
It was an incredibly athletic.
Still got to make plays.
It was an incredibly athletic move. Did you see the video of it looked like it was the team's practice film, is what it looked like, because it was an overhead shot.
It was on a crane.
But Master, our friend Master, from the Post, said that was a media day and that live it just looked incredible.
Mm.
Right. We called him as a practice squad guy, if I recall, when we did our cornerback breakdown. But if he's that, maybe he forces himself on the roster if he's that good.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. Turn guys like that away. All right. Well, maybe if we have nothing left to go about OTAs, we can move then into another one of our sweet position group breakdowns. Or no, we're doing a user poll first. I forget. We do have a poll this week, right?
What do you want to do first, Sean? Guide us fearlessly.
Why don't you hit us with the poll? We can save the position group stuff for last.
All right.
What was the question posed this week? Yeah.
The question posed was, where do you think the Skins defense will rank overall in 2016? Now, I'd just like to say that after I did this, I had a big fear that I had already done this poll. I hope that's not the case, because I know we ranked something several weeks ago, and I couldn't remember if it was defense or not. But if we redid the same poll, sorry, because I can't go back on Twitter and find it.
OTAs are over now, so people have a better sense of it. We'll say that.
So the categories were 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24, or 25 through 32. And it's just the overall rank of the defense. So what do you guys think?
Can we give our... Yeah. Well, so the second option was 9 through 16?
Yeah, it's 32 divided by 8, divided by 4. So in groups of 8.
Sure.
I'm going to say 9 through 16. I know it's pretty optimistic, and I'm going to go for like a 13 or a 12.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a 13 or a 12.
That's what you think. What do you think the people picked?
Oh, what do I think the people think?
Yeah.
Oh, God. This is the debate we always wrestle with every time with this user poll. I can't. I've made the mistake a couple times of not giving listeners of this show credit and assuming they're going to think something stupid. So I'm sorry for doing that. I'm going to say no. You know what? I'm going to say the same thing. I will preface that by saying most people would probably put us, I think, a few places back from what I did. I think I'm actually more optimistic than most people would have been. But I'm going to say the same placement, 9 through 16.
All right. Robbie, what do you think?
That's about where I am, too. I think we're assuming that everybody stays healthy or healthy enough to play and be effective. I think we could be a top 10 to top 20 defense. That's a big range, obviously, but I think we could be right there in the middle and be a pretty darn good defense, assuming the secondary is as good as they look on paper.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what we said was the note coming out of OTA. So I think we're gearing up for that.
I'm a little more pessimistic. I don't. If we're in the 9 through 16, we're going to be like 16 to me. So I'm going to say we're one spot back, and I think the public is with me because I'm a narcissist. So.
Yeah.
Telling it like it is.
I may be a narcissist, but I do not. I do not agree with Alex or with Sean and Robbie. I tend to fall more in Alex's boat. If I was to guess, I would say we would probably be in the very high teens if we improved at that level. I do not think we'll be in the upper teens or in the single digits. So the users, we're not. In my opinion, the listeners at a clip of 66% thought the defense will fall in the 9 through 16 range.
Yeah.
And then there are a group of incredibly optimistic people out there to the tune of 22% who think 22%. That 1 through 8, 22%.
Wow.
Those 20, I think you guys are overly optimistic, but that's just me. 11%.
There's more reason to believe that this year than any other in recent history, I would say, about the defense, undoubtedly. But you're right.
I think
that's
we all agree
in the end, it's the
from
Redskins.
the Hazlitt years, sure.
Oh,
well, I don't know.
In
I mean,
every
you guys
category.
are giving our run defense too much credit. We were just horrible at run defense last year. Terrible, awful.
But we were horrible at
I
everything
think we all know
for
that,
the Shanahan era. So.
Well, no, we weren't horrible at everything. The team had strengths. They were a pretty good run defense.
We set
we had better linebackers.
I know, but that was because our pass defense is so bad. But let's get to finish the poll. 11% put us in the 17 through 24 category, and a mere 1%. Those of you who are overly pessimistic.
Trolls.
We were 25, 32. You guys are probably Dallas fans. You thought that.
Yeah.
Our friend Adam T. Berg, who we know on the Insider, one of our old longtime friends. His comment was, pass D improved, but not the run D. Teams will respond accordingly. Still weak up the middle at D-line and inside linebacker. I think that is very, very accurate. I agree and endorse his comment.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Martin Collinson, who's commented before, says, defense is set up to rush the passer and play pass coverage. If we get leads, it will be good, but we'll struggle to stop the run. Also probably very true. I endorse that also. Dave, who is at WSK28 Rules, Says the D-line is a concern, but our linebacker core will be a strength of the front seven, and I feel the secondary, especially cornerback, will be very strong. I don't know if a linebacker is our core strength, but that's his opinion.
I would not say that.
Yeah, that's his
yeah.
opinion. He's entitled to it most.
Linebacker.
Yeah, outside linebacker. Certainly.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, here, last one here. Rock Cartwright. White as in Cart, W-H-I-T, White, which is KG 6. Potential is high if squad can stay healthy. If Norman doesn't bust, we could potentially have the best cornerback duo in years, which that I totally agree with, too.
And I give him a lot of credit. That is a great username for Twitter.
Rock Cartwright.
Yeah.
And in his photograph was a photo of a white guy. So if that's the same photo, he's a white guy. Yeah, very fitting.
Your name checks out.
Yeah.
I would say to Mr. Adams Bird's point, I know that the run defense probably isn't all that improved when you look at it, but the proportional increase in ability in our secondary is going to force teams to be more one-dimensional. I don't think he's given enough credit to that's going to really... It's going to make playing against us harder. I mean, the defense will have improved overall, and the run defense will improve residually, I should say.
And I'm a big Compton fan. I think Compton's going to help that run defense a lot. I think his because he's got that core fundamental thing of he knows how to watch the film and figure out where the plays are going to go. So,
I do have one more comment on this. Marshall, who is M_W_19, says lots of optimism in this poll. So I don't know if Marshall, you were the guy in the 1%, perhaps in the very bottom. Maybe you are a 1%. Yeah, maybe you are our pessimist, Marshall. So there you go. There's this.
Bernie Sanders doesn't like Marshall. He's a 1% guy.
That's right.
Bernie Sanders does not or improve or endorse Marshall.
We got to get rid of Marshall. Stop voting in our polls.
Yeah. But no, thank you for doing that, Marshall. All right, well, that's an awesome poll. Keep them coming, Stephen. Thank you for everybody who participated. Awesome comments and just really interesting. We're really enjoying doing that, so thank you. Let's move on then. Let's talk about some of these interior offensive line guys as we consider our position group breakdown, right?
The Redskins position group breakdown.
All right, so we got pretty much the same guys we're all used to on the inside. Obviously, the number one, you guys know him, you love him or hate him, depending on who that exact player you're thinking of. Sorry,
for the most part, we love them, right?
Yeah. Sorry to Laribus. The hate on you, my friend. The hate on you, my friend, is too strong to listen to logic at times. So,
Mrs. Laribus,
from all of us fans out there, we thank you.
Mrs. Laribus is kind of a friend of the show, I think. So we need to be good about talking about Josh. We love
Josh.
Since we already brought him up, let's go ahead and talk about him. Why not? Right. He re-signed with us in the offseason. I feel like he wasn't perfect in his replacement duty for Lichtensteiger, but he was very serviceable. He started off rough with the snaps and everything like that, but he played through some tough injuries at the end and was doing pretty well, blocking out for screens, doing what he could. I thought he earned his way back onto the roster this year. Whether he makes the team during training camp, we'll see, but I think he at least earned a right to be part of the off-season program again.
Josh has made me a believer, believe it or not. I was very pessimistic about Josh Laribus just because, he didn't do much, he didn't contribute. He was a third-round draft pick. And it took him a lot of years to do anything. But like Robbie, Robbie's the expert, not me. But he had his jitters with the snap, but he got a lot better toward the end of the year from my unexpert amateur eyes. And he was a serviceable backup. He was a serviceable backup quality. Is that what you want out of a third-round pick? No, but at least he was contributing to the team. And like you said, Robbie, I agree with your position that he kind of earned his way back. He's on a $920,000 contract. He's only got a $680,000 cap hit, which means he has a bunch of performance incentives built in there. So it's a good contract for a potential backup center who can play a little bit of guard.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he was before he came here, was a guard. So he has that more under his belt than he does center. But going on from him, the rest of the guys we have on the roster in the interior is obviously our number one guy, Brandon Sheriff at right guard, Spencer Long, Sean Laval, Arie Kouandjio, our friend that was just on with us. Nila
could make a
Kasset.
strong push. I'm sorry, you could make a strong push. You think for that starting spot?
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Nila Kasset from Oklahoma, rookie, undrafted guy. Who else?
Yep.
Al Bonds.
Center, Corey Lichtensteiger, Austin Reeder, 1-year guy that we drafted last year in the 7th round. Who else?
Al Bond.
Yeah.
Al Bonds. I don't see him on the roster.
Al Bond
here.
is the 2016 signee out of Memphis.
He's listed as a tackle on the roster.
Oh,
I'm
is he?
looking at.
Okay,
Yeah.
he was listed as a guard by a Pro Football Reference, so who knows?
Okay.
Swing guy.
Either way,
No, he's a swing
Al
guy.
Bond, Al Bond. Anyway,
Well,
so that's what we were looking at.
Start with Scherf, Robbie. Talk to us about the progress Scherf made from when he was drafted through now.
Obviously, we all thought everyone is like the elephant in the room that we wanted him to be where he was most successful, but at that point, we also really needed a right tackle. So we were like, okay, I think we're all hoping that he can do it, and then he started struggling at the beginning of camp. Moses was doing well at the start, so they made the switch a little easier, and then it stuck. Could he do it in a pinch? Probably, but we don't need to. We got guys behind Morgan, and we'll talk about the tackles later.
Yeah.
I think he made a really good transition to guard. He started off a little rough at times. One thing I noticed, I obviously pointed out his physical plays where he was, like his old self in college, but there were a lot of times where I didn't see that same tenacity. Like it was selective when he was that way.
Are you talking about now or when he was in college?
I'm talking about now in the NFL. Like his first year, he was, he showed flashes of himself in college, like that you saw all the time, where he was just demolishing guys and, blocking guys all the way through the whistle. And he did that in the NFL too this year, but he didn't do it all the time. It was very selective. I think it may have been partly due to conditioning. I understand that because you can't give that kind of effort every play, or you're going to be gassed and unable to really do your job well.
What about competition?
And competition's much better than the college level, but he can still be that way. You see other offensive linemen in the NFL that are just like what Brandon was in college that do it pretty much every play now. I just would like to see him be. I think he's gotten used to it. He's got the year under his belt. He did really well overall, and now he's going to be a lot more comfortable, plus stronger. So I'm hoping that he'll show more of his college self that I fell in love with tape wise.
What about run versus pass blocking for him?
He's always been better at run blocking. That's always been his forte. He loves to push people. He loves to maul people. His biggest problem with pass pro has always been his feet. He's not always using him, and he kind of gets a little too over aggressive in pass pro. Sometimes he'll lunge or not move his feet to stay with a guy. It's little small things that ended up getting him beat here and there, but nothing that's a big concern. Nothing that Coach Callahan can't fix, and I'm sure he's still working with him on. They always work on the same stuff. They every day they do. At least when I was in college, every day you're doing the same technical drills just to keep it fresh in your head.
Right.
So all of that same stuff.
Basically, you can say he hasn't declined in his development. I mean, he's still
absolutely
moving
not.
along.
He's only going to get better.
Are you saying you were disappointed in his performance?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not disappointed.
If you had to grade him on a scale of A through F, for as a first year player, what kind of grade would you give him?
A solid B. A solid B. But it would be an A or better if he showed that constant aggression that he played with in college. People that watched Brandon Scherf in college and this past year know what I'm talking about. I mean, in college, the dude was just throwing people all over the place, mauling people, blocking through the whistle. I just want to see more of that. That's not really anything about being better or worse. It's the effort thing that really grabbed my eye about him.
I wonder if it's more of a function of he's just a rookie. He was a little unsure of himself. as a player, and he's getting used to the speed of the game, and so that kind of causes mentality to change a little bit.
That's possible, but you go back and watch some of. I still am bitter that he went to the Cowboys, but Leo Collins was doing stuff this past that Brandon did all the time in college. Like, you've seen that one clip of that went around on Twitter of Leo Collins pulling out to a sweep. There was a sweep play to the left. He pulls out and just demolishes this linebacker that comes to try to make a play. He demolishes him and then keeps going, and this safety comes up and he takes him on and tosses him like 10 yards upfield. That's stuff that Brandon did all the time in college. I just want to see that edge to him again. He had it at times. Don't get me wrong. I just want to see more of it.
I'm going to do there's some interesting salary cap stuff going on at the guard and center position, so I'm going to kind of summarize it as a whole. But I think we would be remiss in not talking about that left guard position, Robbie. I mean, we've got Kouandjio, Laval, and Long all kind of competing. What do you think?
Yeah.
If gun to my head, I still think this position is Laval's, and he's not going to lose it unless he severely underperforms. I think it's like a boxing match or heavyweight title boxing match. You have to outright beat the champ to beat him. If not, he's going to stay as the champ. So I think if Laval struggles, plays like what he did when he first came here, and Spencer or Arie are doing pretty solidly well, then they'll give them their shot, and then they could run away with it. But you can't deny that when Laval was playing and when Lichtensteiger was back at center at the beginning of the season, our running game was solid. Like, we were running all over the Dolphins with Dominican Sue. We ran all over the Rams with that outstanding defensive line. I don't think that Laval is going to lose this job. And everybody's wanting to see Arie Kouandjio make this jump in development like Morgan Moses did after his first year. That's not something that happens all the time. Morgan's jump was a huge surprise and a huge, benefit to the team that we weren't all expecting. That's why they drafted Brandon Scherff at right tackle or in 5th overall, because they needed a right tackle. It was a huge need. If they were that positive that Morgan was going to make this,
they might not have drafted Brandon.
If they were so sure he was going to be this good this last season, then they probably wouldn't have drafted Brandon Scherff. That may or may not be true. I don't know. But they drafted Brandon originally to be a tackle, not to be a guard. And because Morgan did so well, they moved him to guard. So,
well, tell us a little, I hear you. I mean, tell us a little bit about Spencer Long's jump, between his first and second years in the NFL. He's going into his third year now. Is he getting to the point where he could become a solid starter?
Spencer, for me, I feel like he's still trying to figure things out. Like, he plays slow. I'm not sure how much film he studies or how comfortable he is with the system, because he just seems like he's still processing everything when he's in the middle of plays. It's just really slow. Doesn't seem 100% confident with what he's executing. You know what I mean? I'm not sold on him being a real legitimate push to start. He started
Who's
last
starting
year
at the left guard position then?
It's going to be Laval. That's
Laval, right. Laval's who you're saying.
Yeah.
And we just had Arie Kouandjio on the show. What do you think? So he's a friend of the show here now, but what do you think of Arie Kouandjio's development as a player over the past?
He has to improve in pass pro. That's the biggest thing. He's a pretty decent run blocker. He's an effort guy too. He likes to, try to block guys through the whistle. He's physical when he plays, but he's just very slow.
Does Arie exclusively play one side? I forget.
No, he's played right guard before.
So he can move around both. Okay.
He can move around, but
we asked him about that too, the versatility question.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he said that he's played a little bit here and there, but I think the implication of what he said was he's played more guard than anything.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And see, the thing, like I said, he has to improve his footwork and pass pro, his hands. Like he that was really the biggest thing he hounded on in the interview was his hands. Like and it's really true. Hands, the hand fight in the NFL, or just O-line versus D-line in general, whoever wins that hand fight, 9 times out of 10 wins the rep.
Speaking of
that's the biggest thing he's working.
Too much of a tangent. You all saw the Junior Gillette video of his him doing that like quick hand movement.
He looked like Bruce Lee. I
Yeah.
mean, the hand speed was incredible.
Yeah.
A very
the
large
video was not
black,
keeping up with him.
a very large black Bruce Lee. That's what he looked like.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Just
so
speaking
that's
your hand thing. I mean, that's what you're dealing with.
Arie's going to be one of my biggest guys that I'm watching in training camp. I want to see him. His last year's training camp, he did not look very good to me. He was getting kind of tossed around some. I saw him getting knocked back, not playing low enough. There's a lot of things I want to see improvements in for him this coming training camp.
Describe it, Robbie? He looked raw.
Yes, raw. He's very raw. Yep. He's the kind of guy that would have benefited from a developmental league. You know, Same for Morgan. I mean, Morgan thankfully jumped up development wise last year, but guys like the two of them could have really used it.
Morgan was a second round pick, or was he a third round pick?
Second
round. I mean, that's not the type of guy that's going to go into a developmental league. But your point is valid. I mean, and now at center, of course, we've got the competition between Lichtensteiger, who's the holdover from the prior administration, and we've got Josh Rivas, who you talked about, and we have Austin Reeder, who's still on the roster.
Another guy who's had a big offseason too. Yeah. He apparently bulked up big time and has taken measures to really push for a spot this year. He's still an unknown to me. I have to be an insider to the team to really know anything about Austin Reeder and even his game tape. Like any film of him, I couldn't find back when he was drafted. There was nothing non-draft breakdown of him.
Well, we're talking about was he a 6th round or 7th round pick?
7th round pick.
Yeah, I mean,
and he was on the practice squad all year. So the only film that was available was practice film, which you can't get unless you are a coach or a player.
Right.
Well, and Reeder's a guy who you said he's bulked up, right? Did you say that?
Yeah, he's gotten bigger. That's what they said.
He was originally listed at 6'3", 296, which is too small for him to be anything but a center. He can't be a guard at 292, less than 300 pounds, at least in a Scott McGloin system. So maybe Reeder's a guy who's looked at himself and said, I'm a 7th round pick. I need to make myself more versatile. The only way I can do that is to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, and we'll see what he does in camp. I'll have to keep my eye on him too, because he's still like just this John Doe on the roster that we have no clue what we have in him, really.
By the way, I'd like all our players to put on 20 pounds of muscle. I just think that would help every position.
Maybe not every position. You wouldn't want Deshaun Jackson doing that.
No, okay.
That'd be bad.
Kirk doesn't need 20 pounds of muscle either.
No. Well, it wouldn't hurt. I don't think it would hurt him as much as it would a speed-based wide receiver, but we digress. Corey Lichtensteiger, he was Lichtensteiger. He was Mike Shanahan's favorite player, just about, for whatever reason. Drafted by Mike Shanahan in Denver. He's a guy who's not very big either. 6'3", 296. He's 31 years old. His birthday's in March. So he's 31. He's, is he reaching the end of his time here?
Yeah, he is. And he's obviously shown, too, that he's kind of injury prone at this point. He tore his ACL a couple of years back, and then he had his injury last year. I like Lichtensteiger. A lot of people hate on him because he's lighter and he gets pushed back here and there. But he is a smart, savvy veteran. Like he does things in the running game, especially that goes unnoticed.
Well, for the benefit of the audience, Robbie, because I don't think the audience really understands, some of them out there, how important the center is. It's not just snapping the ball. Talk to us about the importance of the center.
The center is the one that makes all the calls for the offensive line. He makes the initial key call, like when we call an inside zone play. He lines up, calls out who the key is, and then the O-line makes their calls after that. He's basically the quarterback of the O-line and has to read and digest. I guess digest is the best word I could think of at the moment. Digest what the defense is lined up in and what they're going to run and go from there. He also sets the protection in pass pro, like we mentioned with Arie earlier. center will set the protection first, and then the quarterback makes the adjustments after that based on what he sees.
Is it fair to say a center has to have the most football intelligence on the team outside of maybe the quarterback on offense?
Absolutely. When I was in college, our center, both of our centers was really good, but the first center that was there for a good while that I played with the most was his name was Jeremy Hensley. Really smart football player. I mean, he had the same IQ as the best coaches around on our staff. He was correcting coaches on things. Just really smart dude, and I learned a lot about the game from playing with him.
Well, I think it's so important for people.
The center has to be the smartest person on the O-line.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand out there that you don't have to have a gigantic center.
No.
Like a guy like Jeff Saturday was not much bigger than Corey
Lichtensteiger.
No,
he was smaller.
Yeah, he's not that big a guy. So we'll see what happens there. So did you give us a prediction on center? Is it Lichtensteiger going to start?
It's going to be Lichtensteiger. He's as long as he's healthy, he's the best we have. Spencer Long can try to make that transition, but still, like I said, he doesn't seem like to me he has a full grasp of everything that's going on. Like, I mean, I think that it was a pretty telling based on what he showed during preseason last year. I mean, just getting tossed around like he didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah, and I think if you look at when he started playing, that's when our run game fell apart, frankly. I mean, he's a good fill-in right now, but I don't want him starting it based on last year.
He's a Jag and will be nothing but depth, in my opinion. I don't see him, unless this year he makes some big jump like Morgan did.
Yeah.
He's not going to be anything more than a depth guy,
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Well, I've noticed a couple things. Number one, Sean Laval, 6'3", about 300 pounds, at least according to Pro Football Reference. Whereas both Arie Kouandjio and Spencer Long are taller. They're both 6'5", 20 pounds heavier. So I think that shows that those guys have the potential to have a little bit more versatility than does Laval. Laval is, because of his height, you can't be a tackle in the NFL at 6'3", and so Laval was locked into being a guard. Period.
Yeah.
Whereas Kouandjio and Long, certainly in an emergency or as they develop, at some point could at least have the physical stature to be an NFL tackle. And so from that aspect, they're more versatile than is Laval. The other thing here, though.
Right.
I don't know if their skill sets really translate well.
Maybe not. I mean, again, you have to develop them. I'm saying from a physical standpoint, there's the possibility is there if they could develop and get better. Certainly, Kouandjio needs to focus on being a guard, and I think he basically told us that much in his interview. But here's the thing. The Redskins have spent a whole lot of money on interior O-line, okay? From a salary cap perspective, we spent 10% of our total salary cap on guards and centers so far, and that's kind of a lot. It's for a limited group like that, it's a lot. And the reason is obviously Brandon Scherf has a huge contract. He's got a $21 million contract, fully guaranteed, 100% guaranteed. And we like Brandon Scherf, and he was a high draft pick. Fine.
When you're drafted Laval, top 10, that's going to happen.
Yeah, nobody's going to dispute that. But Laval actually has a bigger cap hit than does Scherf. Laval has a $5 million cap hit this year, and he's in the third year of a 4-year contract, $17 million contract, total. And then Lichtensteiger has got a $3.8 million cap hit himself. He's in the fourth year of a 5-year contract. So there's a lot of money in the guards and centers. But on Laval, if you look at Laval's history, he's always been a starter his entire career.
Right.
He started since his second year in the NFL. I don't think he's a guy who, if he gets beaten out, we're going to keep. He's paid too much money. His cap hit is too big to be a second stringer. So if we have a case where Kouandjio or Long really makes a big jump, Laval's going to be gone. They're not going to keep Laval for that. And the same with Lichtensteiger.
There's been a lot of talk about that. I was listening to one of the sports stations while driving around yesterday, and they had a long talk about with his health issues that could be a real possibility now.
Yeah. And in terms of the center group, Lichtensteiger, again, like I said, has got a $3.8 million cap hit. He's only got a $1.1 million dead cap hit. So if we see a guy, like Laribus or Reeder or maybe Kouandjio or Long or somebody makes a jump at guard or at center, they're not going to keep Lichtensteiger either. And I have to think, just because he's a holdover from the prior administration, I just wonder if his time on the team is limited.
I
can totally see that.
I don't think so at center. I
Sorry,
just
go
don't
ahead,
see
Alex.
anybody who has that background. We keep on trying to convert these guards to playing center, and I just don't think that works as well as people
All I
think.
meant is just if somebody takes a jump. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it will happen. I think he's clearly the best center on the team right now for sure. That was, I don't think he should have played in the Seattle playoff game. Or I'm not the Green Bay playoff game rather, but I think it should have been Laribus. But overall, Corey's a better center for now.
I
Absolutely.
think we need to draft high and find a center of the long-term future, frankly.
Well, the rumor was that McLuhan loved Ryan Kelly from Notre Dame and just couldn't get him.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Yeah. We would have had to trade up for him, and that was not going to happen.
No.
You know anything about this Nila Casatati, Robbie?
I don't. Only that he played for a big-time football program in college.
He's got a 3-year contract, as an undrafted free agent, $1.6 million. So they liked him.
Probably just
to do that.
Yeah. And they got rid of, I don't know if you guys noticed, they got rid of the guard that we signed out of Alabama after the draft. Jackson was his last name.
Yeah.
Malik was not Malik. That's the dude for the Broncos. It's on the Jags now. What's his name? Dominique Jackson, I think was his name.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Anyway, he got cut like a couple weeks ago, so he's not even on the roster anymore. But Nila Casatati is 6'4", 315, so he's got some good size to him. Other than that, I have no idea. I don't know much about him.
Al Bond, 6'4", 300 pounds. So he's a little on the light side.
A little lighter.
Depending on it, who knows, like we said, if he's a tackle or a guard.
Yeah.
So if we can predict roster spots here, we've got probably 9 on the offensive line total, unless they go to 10. But if we assume 9, so we've got in the interior, we've got the 3 starters, obviously. Are we going to see 1 or 2 backups as guard and center? I have to think probably 2. So who are they going to be? What do you think, Robbie?
I was going to save my talk about him for the tackle talk because that's what he's mostly listed as. But I mentioned earlier this week another player I really want to have my eye on the offensive line is Jacoby Cofield, guy they had on the practice squad last year playing tackle. I'm sure they've thrown him in at guard here and there on the practice squad. So I want to see what he can do. I think he's kind of flown under the radar this offseason. Kouandjio's gotten a lot of talk recently, Spencer Long, obviously, and Sean Laval, but Cofield's got some size to him, and I always thought he looked more like a guard, too, after we drafted him and watching some of his film. He's not a tackle. He's not your typical tackle prototype because he doesn't have the footwork you need to play tackle.
You want to save our predictions for next week then? For the O-line, you want to do them all at once, or can we predict who survives?
Yeah, we can do it.
All right. Let's save your expert opinion for last, Robbie. So for me, who I think I think we're gonna keep 5 interior linemen. I do think Laval is gonna survive. This year, and he's gonna start. I think, like you said, he made a big jump last year, and the running game was really clicking, and we need to do something to improve the running game. Particularly since we didn't bring any new running backs. So I think we're going to see Laval, Kouandjio, and Long in there, and Scherf. So that's 4, and I think it's a battle between Laribus and Reeder for a backup center job. And I'm going to go with Reeder just because Reeder was drafted by this administration. So I'm going to go Laval, Lichtensteiger, Long, Scherf, and Reeder being our interior O linemen. Alex?
I'm thinking we're going to keep 5. And I'm not sure yet. I think Long and Laribus kind of battle it out for who's going to be the backup center guard. Kind of you have to.
I said 5 too, by the way, didn't I?
No, you went 6.
I think I did. I said Laval, Lichtensteiger, Long, Scherf, and Reeder.
You said Kouandjio.
Yeah. Oh, I did say Kouandjio.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
6.
Yeah.
Well, then they have the three.
The 3 tackles. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna. Yeah, and the 2 starters and a swing tackle. So I'm gonna stick with 6.
Okay.
Sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not sure. We don't have anybody who really plays a swing guard tackle right now. That's obviously can challenge for that. That's the kind of missing link in my whole how the O line's going to shift out. But yeah, I think same 3 starters as you: Shifty, Lichty, and Long, and Loval, not Long. Long and Rib battle it out for that swing center guard spot, and then Kouandjio is the backup guard.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say, we got our 3 tackles. Trent, Morgan, and Ty. We don't need to worry about them. Interior wise, I'm gonna say Sean Laval, Corey Lichtensteiger, Brandon Sheriff, Spencer Long, Arie Kouandjio, and Tacoby Cofield. I think Long. I'm going to predict that Long is going to be thrusted into that primary interior replacement. If it's Corey that goes down, or any of the other guards, I think Spencer is going to be that first guy in, and then after that you'll have Arie Kouandjio. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't think we're going to keep a dedicated center as a backup?
Nope. I think we're going versatility.
Okay.
I think because Austin Reeder still has another year of practice squad eligibility left.
Right.
Yeah.
And they could probably keep him there.
He's got 2 more years left, actually.
I thought you only get 2 years.
No, you can be on. You can do it as a 3rd year, depending on how many games you've been active. If you haven't been active, you can stick around for the 3rd year. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Spencer's going to be that first guy in. If someone goes down in the interior, Arie's after him, and Tacoby Cofield will be that final guy because he can play tackle, and I'm sure they're going to work on him playing guard. If he can show that versatility, he'll be that last guy.
Sure.
That's my bet.
Okay.
Prediction, at least.
There's our interior offensive lineman position group breakdown, folks.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think we've gotten close to the end here. Do we have any other topics we want to introduce here before we sign off? Anybody got anything?
No, I think we're good. Oh,
okay.
People should buy a T-shirt.
Enjoy the finals.
We had that in the intro.
Oh, yeah.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have T-shirts. It's very exciting. We have Hogside T-shirts now, people, and I think it's safe to say that unless every single one of you buy one, we're going to be disappointed. So we are expecting 100% participation on the T-shirt thing, and yes, they are expensive. They're $150 each, but don't worry about it. It's worth the investment. No,
it all goes to the Robbie Duncan Charity Fund.
Yeah, it's a 501c3 charity. People trust us, the Robbie Duncan Foundation. Normally these foundations are to help kids and everything else. Well, this is helping Robbie Duncan. So, but there's a link on our website. There's a button that says T-shirts. If you want to buy one in there, you can. We're kidding about the cost. They're cheap, actually. So they're neat.
We did it on Cafe Press. I'm sure most people out there who buy T-shirts online know them. And so Cafe Press does all the creation and mailing of them. So if you have a problem, don't come to us. Go to them. But it's just,
the T-shirts are not being made in our garage, and they're not just stacked up in somebody's bedroom. So yeah, these are actually professionally done. So if you guys want a T-shirt, that'd be great. Please feel free to buy one.
Yeah.
So that's
and
the T-shirt
keep an eye
thing.
there, because I think Sean and I are both going to come up with some creative ones over the season. As things get said that become good catchphrases, we'll try and throw them out there on T-shirts.
And we have no problem stealing trademarks, so don't worry about that.
That's coming from our lawyer.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're not going to do that, but you're going to see some
guarantee. It's a guarantee, though, that I'll be wearing my Hogside T-shirt at training camp. So,
if you see,
you guys can find me.
Yeah, if you see a huge guy wearing a Hogside T-shirt
and a bucket hat, I will be wearing a bucket hat.
And if you see a kind of average height guy with a big gut wearing one, that's me.
All right, folks.
It looks like the guy from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what Trailer Park Boys is, but I'm assuming there's somebody out there that does.
It's a comedy show.
Oh, there you go. That's why I don't know it. All right, guys. Do we have anything else to wrap it up? Otherwise,
That's
I think
it.
all right, we're going to cut it there. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the remainder of your weekend and the coming week. And we will see you all next time.
Buy a t-shirt.
Go Jon Snow.